Viewer discretion is advised. This video is going to discuss sensitive topics such as, among other things, allegations of child sexual abuse committed by a judge. I'm hoping that this video qualifies for YouTube's educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic EDSA exemption. Thank you.
The motion details Gosnell claimed to have traveled to Mexico to have sex with a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and he repeatedly admitted to abusing children in his neighborhood, according to messages.
Judge James Gosnell III, that's his name, from South Carolina City, Charleston. This man is not just corrupt. This man is pure evil. This man is the devil reincarnated. This is a story that is actually currently unfolding. It's active. This just broke out. This, in all likelihood, will turn into one of the biggest national news stories. There's multiple co-conspirators that are on the legal documents that are unnamed. A co-conspirator means somebody that was doing this with him. He's in jail right now, federal custody. Just got more charges. He has a slew of charges. The feds did a outstanding investigation tracking this guy and, getting to the bottom of everything that he was doing. And we're going to look into that today. But I want to make sure you guys always remember, don't let the black robe fool you. Some of those people wearing the black robes are the most evil people that you would ever meet in your life. Some people, I'd argue, decide that they want to become a judge just to abuse the authority. It's just like we all know that some cops were people that got picked on in school and their whole dream is to be a cop so that they can push their weight around on other people behind the badge. You think the position of a judge is no different? Of course not. You see from my channel that apparently some judges are the worst people in society. And I'd argue they are. What is more of a worse child predator, such as this judge, than a judge doing this? If a regular person is doing it, it's horrible, it's bad enough. But then a judge, someone with that authority, someone with that power, somebody who's supposed to judge members of the society, somebody that can send people away to prison for the rest of their lives and exercise judicial discretion. Judicial discretion just means how he feels like it that particular day when he wakes up. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's his discretion. Somebody with that type of authority doing this. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to need to take a seat for this one.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Tessa Spencer. First at 6, a federal grand jury indicted suspended Charleston County Judge James Gosnell Jr. and an unnamed co-conspirator Tuesday with multiple counts related to the acquisition and distribution of child sexual abuse materials. Our Emily Deanne was in downtown Charleston where Gosnell was arraigned this afternoon. And Emily, what have we learned today?
Tessa, the former judge will stay behind bars until his trial is scheduled. Thursday in court, James Gosnell Jr. was formally advised of his charges, with his attorney entering a not guilty plea to preserve his rights. Gosnell was indicted this week by a federal grand jury on multiple charges related to child sexual abuse material, including possession, receipt, distribution, and conspiracy. Indictment documents describe disturbing alleged conduct, activities involving very young children, international travel, and the use of USB devices and online communications among co-conspirators. Gosnell's attorney confirming there is more to come.
This is only the first phase. We have some legal motions we'll be filing once we get a scheduling order from the court, some that we think that the judge will have to take a good hard look at. So we look forward to doing that and look forward to being back in court.
There's a whole lot more to this situation coming up, but I want to talk about his lawyer. That was his lawyer just speaking there, the judge's lawyer. How can you put your name and your reputation as a lawyer to defend a guy like this? And it's not even just putting your name. This lawyer will be typing up defenses, typing up all kinds of things. I'm going to speculate here, but, typing up things like the judge didn't do this because this reason why and blah, blah, blah. Even if it's clear as day he did it, you just making up lies. And your job is to make up lies and just make up fake alibis and make up reasons to excuse this type of conduct. I know some people will say, well, a lawyer just has a job to do, but how do you live with yourself? How do you sleep at night? I couldn't imagine typing multi-page documents with a legal team together, and we're making this document to defend this guy, and we're filing this saying this didn't happen or that didn't happen or this person's lying and this person's lying, and we know that it's not that this our client really did this. How can you file that, defend this guy, and then just go to sleep and just live life regular? I couldn't live with myself. I would lose my mind. Like I don't understand. And I understand that they need a lawyer, I suppose. I don't know. What do y'all think when it comes to situations like this? Should the lawyer, leave some comments, should the lawyer have shame upon him for doing this? Or do we look at it like this is just the lawyer's job to defend this guy? Because I have a hard time coming up with any sort of rationale to give, a favorable look to lawyers that defend people like this. My whole mindset is, how could you? How do you put your reputation in this? How do you sleep at night? How do you this? How do you that? Like, my whole mind is just, I have no frame of mind to think that any which way. You're like, this lawyer to me is just as bad as the judge for being there with him, in my opinion. Of course, everything is, allegations at this point, but
Federal agents say the case began with a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, leading to a search of Gosnell's Charleston home in September. Federal prosecutors declined to comment Thursday, but continue to urge the public to come forward if they have any information about potential victims or others who may have had contact with Gosnell. Representative Nancy Mace also in court, pushing for justice and offering resources.
I am deeply concerned for any child who may have been in the vicinity or in his home or near him or with him alone. One of the things I learned going through the system was the lack of rights that are respected, even though they're law for potential victims of abuse. And so I want to make sure that they know what their rights are, that they are being attended to, and that their rights are being protected.
I don't always agree with Nancy Mace a lot of the times, but shout out to her for showing up and talking about things that are very important. Like, she's clearly put thought into what to say. She's not just coming up there with nothing to say. That's a very good point. A lot of times victims don't know their rights. A lot of times the court systems don't protect victims' rights. And, we see with a lot of other videos that sometimes judges and courts will do corruption to protect other judges. So it's good to have all this attention and the Congresswoman showing up there to make sure that, there's no witness intimidation or tampering. We've seen in other videos with judges intimidating witnesses. We've seen in other videos judges planting drugs on people. Who knows what type of powers are going on around that town to try to maybe cover up for this guy. And one of the things that Nancy Mace said that was very interesting, and what the FBI is saying is very interesting. The FBI is like, they're not saying this for no reason. They're saying, if something has happened to you with this guy, come forward. Because it seems like this guy, they went through this guy's phones and his electronics devices, and he talks about abusing just all sorts of people. And it looks like this is going to be a crazy big story. But the FBI is like, here's a tip line, you need to call us if you've been affected by this guy. Nancy Mace, the way her rhetoric was there, she was talking about victims, like people in the area. The only thing we've heard about so far is just evil, disgusting deeds that he did when he went down to Mexico that he should get capital punishment for. I know in Florida, they actually, if you abuse a child under the age of 12, you can get capital punishment. You can get the death penalty. And I don't have a problem with that at all, to be honest. The law is good. So a little bit about that really quick, and then we're going to get back into it. This judge gets more charges and more stuff happens to this judge. But so Florida with Ron DeSantis, which I don't always agree eye to eye with him, but this is a great thing that he did here. he signed into law making it that if you abuse a child under the age of 12, you can get capital punishment. Now, there's a Supreme Court case that I forget what year it was. I think it's an older case, like the 60s or something. But it's a case that's in effect the law of the land that says that if a person does not die in a crime, then it violates somebody's constitutional rights to kill them and give them capital punishment if somebody did not die. So Florida has a bunch of cases right now where the prosecutors are seeking the death penalty against people, and their goal is to get those cases challenged up to the Supreme Court of the United States and try to overturn that old ruling. And with judges like this, I wouldn't have a problem with it. My mind would melt if people would defend this judge in any way and be like, well, he shouldn't get capital punishment. If he did what he did here, if he did these allegations, come on.
Gosnell was suspended from his judicial post by the state's Chief Justice on the grounds that his continued service posed a substantial threat to the public and the administration of justice.
This is not political for me. I believe that child rapists should receive the death penalty in South Carolina.
Gosnell will remain behind bars with federal marshals. The judge deferred to a district judge for further scheduling.
Nancy Mace is outside of the courthouse like, yo, what the fuck? We need to kill this motherfucker in there. I'm just kidding. She didn't say it like that. And, from a legal perspective, I just go to capital punishment. And for instance, in Florida, where I'm from, the governor signed in a law, capital punishment for abuse of children under 12. So from a legal perspective, it is something that can be done in certain states. Like apparently, I guess not in South Carolina. And I'm not co-signing Nancy Mace, by the way. I'm not a political person. She's super political. But I'm co-signing her in this instance. Shout out to this woman for showing up, being there, showing her face, being a congresswoman there. And like I said earlier, she put thought into what she said. It wasn't cookie cutter with regard to the things she said about the victims. Like the law normally don't protect victims in these particular situations. So I'm here to make sure that they are and they know their rights. And we know she's basically saying the law is fucking corrupt for victims. And let's not do it this time. Let's make sure they got their rights and it's upheld here. I'm here. I'm watching this. I'm the congresswoman. I'm monitoring the situation. So shout out to her for that. Now, this judge gets more charges. So this is just the beginning. Now he gets indicted with more charges.
A suspended Charleston County magistrate judge was back inside of a federal courtroom this afternoon, only hours after he was accused of additional, even more graphic charges. James B. Gosnell Jr. has been in jail since last week after the U.S. Department of Justice charged him with possession of child sexual abuse material. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Ann McGill. These new accusations against that former Judge Gosnell are detailed in a motion filed by the DOJ today. We do need to warn you, this information is disturbing and may be graphic to viewers. Live 5's investigative reporter Emily Johnson joining us now after being inside of that courtroom today with Gosnell where no cameras were allowed. Emily, what additional information was shared with the public in court?
And the new accusations against Gosnell are extremely disturbing and shocking to many here in the Charleston community, as he was not only in a position of power, but he was also in a position of trust. The motion details Gosnell claimed to have traveled to Mexico to have sex with a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and he repeatedly admitted to abusing children in his neighborhood, according to messages. Just yesterday, Gosnell's attorney Lionel Lofton argued in a motion that the evidence proved to be an isolated incident with no pattern of inappropriate behavior from Gosnell, that he has no criminal history or any alleged inappropriate activity with minors.
So the attorney is arguing that, this is an isolated incident. He only did it this one time. He's not this ain't a pattern. He just abused a couple kids. It's just, what we supposed to do? He a judge. Let's let this nigga free. You know what I'm saying? He a judge, and This ain't nothing, and, you know, case dismissed. Burn both of them by the stake. I'm just kidding. It's a joke. But you should have the trial in Florida. How about that? Again, with these attorneys, bro, that's what I'm talking about. How the fuck can you write this filing? You're defending him this way. And I know it's all sorts of other goofy shit in the filing and defenses and bullshit and nonsense. And it's like, how do you sleep at night? But it's evil people out there, bro. I'm sure Buddy having a good night's sleep, just chilling, and they be corrupt. You see these videos that I do on this channel, these people be fucking corrupt, bro. You see the conversations with the FBI when they have hidden wires underneath catching judges talking at their house. You see the other videos where judges stealing money, just doing whatever the fuck that they want. You seen the woman in the other video where the woman judge is, you know, sleeping with a lead detective in a murder case and just doing whatever, bro. Like, and then the other one with the attorney. If you guys haven't seen my channel, go look at other judge videos. It's nuts. But one of them, they're all going on vacations together with the attorney, and women they're extorting for sex in the court and bringing them on trips and stuff. So I can assure you, and you know, I'm not alleging that this attorney is doing anything other than representing his client, and I'm just making jokes and satire. But I can assure you, this attorney is sleeping really good at night, and he just chilling, and he don't give a fuck, bro. I don't know how they do it. They mind, some of these attorneys, they mind just have a glass of scotch. Fuck it, we getting some money. And I'm not co-signing that field of logic. I'm on the perspective of it's just mind-blowing. How do you sleep at night? Just to clarify my little, you know, joke there.
But after the state filed their motion this afternoon, Gosnell waived his right to a detention hearing, keeping him behind bars until a preliminary hearing is scheduled. Although today's hearing was very brief, the state's motion goes on to detail Gosnell confessed to possessing the material and also was romantically involved with another man who had a shared interest in pedophilia. In one of these conversations, prosecutors state that Gosnell and the other man planned a trip to Florida for the two to, quote, jointly rape and torture the infant son of a family member of this other man.
A judge, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're watching this video right now and you're in a state of, you probably feel like, are you really watching what you're really watching? Or like, are you sleeping? Are your eyes really hearing this? That a judge was doing this. And your eyes don't deceive you, ladies and gentlemen. This judge got Jeffrey Epstein beat over here. This dude is the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. This dude is like, but I think there is this phenomenon, and I think my channel is gonna expose this phenomenon, and it's kind of interesting how my channel evolved. It was like I got abused and destroyed by, I didn't get destroyed, I actually been kicking their ass, but I got abused by judges and a crooked system. If you guys are looking at my channel, go look at the beginning, my oldest videos. You can see how this kind of all started and where we're at. But now that I'm doing these videos, there's this phenomenon that I'm seeing where I think that these judges have this power complex. And we all know a lot of judges have power complex when they have those outbursts and they yell at people in court. But there's this evil power complex that some of these judges have, that they truly believe they're above the law and they can just do whatever they want. And pretty much judges, for the most part, are above the law and they can get away with just so much. Like, they only really get in trouble with real major stuff. Any kind of little small misdemeanor or a little small felony or whatever, it's like judges never get in trouble for it. And it's always, they can make phone calls to tell the sheriff to do this or do that. Judges can pick up the phone and make a phone call and make crimes and make stuff go away. It's like a real thing. And judges do that for other judges. Judges will try and plant drugs on people. You see the whole 9 yards. I could recite all the things I just said earlier about my previous videos. And, you know, there's this God complex they get. And they just do more and more and more crazy stuff. And you see the pattern keep happening, because what these judges are doing in these videos, this isn't like regular crime. This shit is like over the top times 10. Like, what the fuck? Like, what these judges are doing. It's like Somebody, it really literally is somebody who believes they above the law and they're a king and they can do whatever that they want. And here's this is my case that I'll make to you for why these judges think they're above everybody and they just are in a total God complex. Because what this judge did is literally 10 times worse, or allegedly did, is 10 times worse than Jeffrey Epstein. And that's like a literal statement I'm saying, and people are like, it is 10 times worse than Jeffrey Epstein. How the fuck you do something 10 times worse than Jeffrey Epstein, allegedly, right? And there's more.
The filing also states that Gosnell's conversations on the app Telegram revealed numerous instances in which he raped and abused children. United States Attorney for South Carolina Brian Sterling told reporters after the hearing that Gosnell is alleged to have abused the most vulnerable of us, infants and toddlers.
To the parents of the community, our investigation has revealed that Gosnell claims to have abused very young children. If you have left your child alone with Gosnell, even let him hold your child, please email the tip line.
Gosnell's attorney asked the court for 2 days to prepare for the preliminary hearing, with Judge Molly Cherry saying that hearing will be scheduled within the next 10 days.
Wow. You know, I usually would give my spiel of, you know, judges, a lot of times, some of them think they're above the rule of law, and you know, we fought an American Revolutionary War against that. And the word rule of law comes from, you know, when the American colonies used to be controlled by Britain and the kings and queens ruled everything, and they were rulers. They were above the law, the kings, queens, royalty. In America, we said that we would never allow that to happen again. We have the rule of law, and everyone is under the rule of law. And a lot of times we see judges are absolutely above the rule of law a lot of the times. And, you know, especially from my situation and circumstances, you see the corrupt little small towns and stuff. Those judges, they can commit crimes and the sheriff ain't gonna do nothing. They're all buddies and stuff, literally. I thought it was an urban legend until I experienced it myself. But so I would normally give my little spiel, but this situation is just pure evil, just pure depravity. And so before I say that, one of the things I want to point out is that this is an unfolding incident. This judge just got these charges, the additional charges filed like a couple days ago, like last week. So this is going on, happening right now. And one of the most unsettling facts for me with this whole situation, of course, everything, but the way that the authorities, the federal authorities, are trying to reach out to find other victims. They keep saying, if he's been around your child, if he's this, if he's that, call us, call us. If he held your child, if he's this, he's that, call us, call us. And he was doing international travel for this stuff. He was planning to go down to Florida, and you've seen what they were planning on doing there. And that's what's unsettling, is that there's clearly, this is about to snowball into a much bigger situation. You have a co-conspirator. So there's anonymous co-conspirators. Then you have this lover that they were going to go down to Florida and do the unspeakable stuff that the news said. It's a pedophile cabal, dude, literally, with this judge. And so I guess we're going to see how it unfolds. Don't let the black robe fool you. Unfortunately, in society, pre the internet, the beauty of the internet is that stories like this can be brought to you so that you're not in the dark of how judges act a lot of the times, some of the times, and how some of them are. There was this issue before the internet where the average person held police and judges to like this super high standard, like they're perfect. A judge can do no wrong, police can do no wrong, and the average person just really wouldn't even believe it. It would be like speaking bad on the police would be like talking about politics, where you can't even say it. People just go crazy on you on the internet, which that's not the case. Yes, there's some bootlickers, but it's definitely a small minority. You can get on the internet and talk about bad policing, and you're not going to get roasted, and people aren't going to be like going crazy at you as if you were to get up there and talk about like politics or talk about religion. People don't hold police to that standard anymore because people have seen too much. There's been too much videos and too much stuff on the internet about people holding police to this high standard. And I hope through my videos, and I don't think people hold judges to that high standard, but I think they still sort of kind of do sometimes. And people need to be aware of a public service announcement like these judges do the same shit as everybody else, if not worse, with this God complex that we keep seeing. These people, it's just like I said earlier, it's just over the top like crime. This ain't even just regular crime. This is literally the craziest, like I said earlier in the video, this motherfucker one up Jeffrey Epstein. How? This is crazier than that. Judge doing this. And you know the sad thing is, I think this he might end up just with a slap on the wrist. I don't have faith in the justice system, even in this particular situation. We saw in my last video, if you go check it, a judge extorted women to have sex with him. A woman ended up committing suicide. That's the only reason that this judge got caught, the one I'm talking about, not the one in this video, the one in the prior video. A woman committed suicide, and then in the investigation, they found out that this judge was extorting women for sex. They found out this judge was trying to plant drugs on women to try and get them arrested, plant drugs on people. This judge was stealing money. This judge was just doing all sorts of stuff that obviously a judge should not be doing. And he only ended up getting 4 years, or like not even 4 years, under 4 years. I don't even think he served the full 4 years, where, you know, he did so much stuff, and it's like, and it was all in the news, and that's all he got. So I personally, I don't have faith in the justice system at this point, especially when it comes to a judge. With judges judging them, he's going to get, obviously he has a good lawyer. It looks like he has a good lawyer. He's going to get the best treatment in the judicial system. His lawyer is already setting it up. You see how the main thing that they talked about, what the lawyer said, this is the first time he did this. He's never done this before. He doesn't have a criminal record. This is an isolated incident. That's setting it up. So from the beginning of this case, the whole case is getting it set up to give him a lenient sentence. I don't know. I wish I had something positive to say at the end of the video, but as your old Uncle Ray Ray, it's me. Just remember, your old Uncle Ray Ray always used to tell you, don't let the black robe fool you. Peace.